very stunning views of hurricanes. It carries an instrument, a radar, that's able to measure snow and rain within the storm layer by layer to give us these nice three-dimensional views, essentially like a CAT scan of the storm. This particular image is from September 29th when Joaquin was a tropical storm. And the green and yellow color show you some of the heavier rain near the surface, and the blues are showing snow and ice that's spreading out near the top of the storm, including spreading out over the center of the storm at that time when Joaquin was kind of struggling to intensify.
Got it. So with that new way to look at the storm in 3D, what did you find that helped it intensify into the first major hurricane of the 2015 season?
Well, what we saw in that 3D image was more that the heavy precipitation was just on the eastern side of the storm, which is usually indicative of environmental winds that tend to slow development. But it gives us a fantastic view to see how the storm structure is being affected by those winds. Over the next couple of days, as those winds relaxed, we saw an image from last night from GPM, more of the classical donut shape of heavy precipitation in the eye wall of the storm, which was a clear indicator of the fact that the storm had intensified fairly rapidly into a Category 4 storm.
So headed into the rest of this weekend, as Joaquin moves northward, what can people along the East Coast expect?
Well, the National Hurricane Center forecast basically keeps the system, for the most part, offshore, except for potentially some areas north of Cape Cod or such. Although the southeast will still see some pretty heavy rain associated with some of these frontal systems that have been affecting us. The nice thing about the GPM satellite is it allows us to look at the accumulation of rainfall over time to measure just how much rainfall has occurred and what areas might potentially be affected or prone to significant flooding, whether that's from the frontal systems or from Joaquin.
And that's fantastic, I'm sure, because I think a lot of emergency personnel can see this, and it might help them going forward, right?
Right. The data sets from GPM, whether it's the sort of X-ray-like or CAT scan-like images of the hurricane, can be seen within about an hour or so after the data is collected. The global maps of precipitation that show us the evolution of the storm and of storms globally, we get within about 6 hours of the data being collected. And so forecasters and emergency managers can see that information to see how the systems are evolving and how precipitation is accumulating. It's very important for areas in the U.S., but it's also important globally for areas that don't have the sort of technologies that we have to measure rainfall routinely.